Mission Statement. The mission statement of the Red Lake Nation Chemical Health Program is to enhance the well-being of all Red Lake members through alcohol and drug abuse prevention, education, intervention, and treatment. All programs are based on Anishinaabe culture and philosophy to strengthen the mind, body, and spirit of the Red Lake Reservation members, families, and communities. Home. Alex liked to visit the woods when she felt sick. She put on her favorite coat and wrapped a warm knit scarf around her head. It was still early and everyone in her house was asleep. The sun had only just begun to rise. As a little girl, her grandma taught her to go to the woods and offer tobacco when she felt bad. Find a big, strong tree and offer a pinch of asema at the base of it, she told Alex. So that's what she did. She left the house with nothing but a torn cigarette, spilling tobacco into her pocket. The spring air was cool on her face. Frozen mud cracked beneath her boots. Her house was surrounded by trees. So thick, woods weren't that far away. She settled into her favorite spot, a tree stump, surrounded by ground flattened from the winter snow. She took several deep breaths, fighting the nausea and dizziness clouding her head. Alex messed up again. She and her friends were 17, barely old enough to drive, and still crowding together in high school hallways every day. Yet every week they would gather in someone's house in the back of town and drink together. Her friend's older brother bought them cases of beer and tall bottles of hard liquor. He didn't seem to care what they were doing. The only thing he worried about was whether they could pay him. Alex felt weaker and sicker all the time, but the morning after was always the hardest. She held a shaking hand to her mouth and breathed through the aching in her stomach. She had a good home. Her parents and her grandmother were likely beginning to stir, pinning back their curtains and trudging out of bed to brew a pot of Tim Hortons coffee. Grandma would soon be outside next to the tree at the edge of their yard, praying over her own tobacco. It was Saturday, and she left her bedroom door closed, so they didn't notice she was gone. They would let her sleep. She was sober again, and her thoughts began to swirl. It's been almost exactly 4 years since they lost Sam in the car accident now. Alex had recovered from her injuries in just months afterward, but her brother Sam only had a few days to fight before the Creator called him home. He died in a hospital an hour away from home. She tried not to think about him. Each time she did, she pushed the thoughts away. They only caused her more pain. This usually worked. However, Sam's fourth and final memorial dinner was less than a week away. She couldn't help but think about him all the time. Her hands were getting cold in her lap. She pulled her coat tighter around her shoulders when she began to shiver. She fantasized about canned hash, greasy breakfast sandwiches, and a hot mug full of Grandma's swamp tea. She imagined herself wrapped in one of Grandma's big warm quilts. She wondered if they would help her right now if they knew the truth about what she had been doing. Shame sat heavy like a rock in her chest. She didn't want to tell them why she was sick again. She was afraid of what they would say. The calm stillness of the woods would be enough for her today, she thought. Once she felt a little better, she would offer asema and return home as if nothing was wrong. Discussion questions. Why do you think Alex was taught to offer tobacco when she felt bad? What are some other times we should offer tobacco? Alex pushed away thoughts and feelings she doesn't want to face. How do you think that affects her? What could you do instead to feel better? What is swamp tea? What do you use swamp tea for? How can swamp tea help you? Do you know what a hangover is?
Beaver, a Mick, wisdom, Nibwakuin. Wisdom is represented by the beaver. The beaver is gifted sharp teeth by the Great Spirit. It uses them to cut trees and branches for dams and lodges. The beaver's dams and lodges support its family and the ecosystem. If the beaver does not use its teeth, they will continue to grow and eventually become useless, making it difficult to sustain its life. From this, the Anishinaabe can learn that if we use our gifts from the Great Spirit properly, we can contribute to the development of a healthy family and community. However, if we let our spirits become weak, we will not be able to fulfill our purpose. We were given wisdom as a means of bettering our lives through knowledge. To know wisdom is to understand that the Great Spirit has given everyone special gifts to use to build strong families and a healthy community. Alex warmed up as the sun slowly rose higher in the sky. Her headache was beginning to subside, but the nausea was stubborn. Her stomach churned. Alex, came a voice from behind her. The back of her neck prickled with the awareness that she was no longer alone in the woods. She turned around to see who had spoken to her. There she saw a large beaver. Beaver appeared shimmery, almost corporeal, with shiny brown fur and long whiskers. Alex marveled at the spirit in front of her. Bonjour, she said quietly, unsure of what to do. She felt around in her pockets for her tobacco. Still partially in the shape of a cigarette, she looked at the scraps in her palm, embarrassed, and decided she wouldn't smoke anymore. She pulled it apart and the tobacco spilled into her hand. She offered it to the beaver. This is all I have right now. I am sorry. Miigwech, said the beaver. This will do just fine. The spirit spoke to her gently, the same way she had heard the family spiritual advisor speak to them. She felt safe and listened as he went on. He explained that he was the first of 7 spirits that would visit her in the morning. Each of the 7 grandfather teachings would be represented by an animal or a great being. The 7 grandfather teachings, he explained, were given to us by the Creator early in the Anishinaabe history. They are 7 basic laws that, when followed, help the Anishinaabe lead a good, balanced life, and they are all necessary for our families and communities to thrive. Wisdom is represented by the beaver, he went on. Beaver had appeared to Alex first to provide knowledge. We are always gathering wisdom from the time we arrived in the world to the day we are called home. We are gaining knowledge. Alex listened intensely. She heard about the 7 grandfather teachings from her family spiritual advisor, but knew very little about them. Now, where is your pain? Beaver asked. She was taken aback by the question. I guess my head still hurts. She lowered her head. I've been drinking and smoking lately. That is not your pain. That is how you're soothing your pain, Beaver said. So what is your pain? Alex became aware of the ache in her chest. Her eyes burned. I don't know. It just makes me feel numb. You will, he said, voice soft. Anishinaabe are not meant to consume liquor. Your pain will linger until you're ready to confront it, not bury it. When Beaver was done speaking, he handed Alex 2 large squares of fabric. She was careful not to touch the claws when she took them from him. They were a mossy green color and rather plain, but they were good and steady strips of fabric. So with these, said Beaver, the other spirit animals will bring you the rest of what you need. When you combine everything that we have given you, you will begin to heal.
Discussion questions. 1. Why does Alex use liquor to soothe her pain? 2. How does it make her feel? 3. What are some other things Alex could have tried instead? 4. What does Beaver gift Alex at the end? What does he say to do with his gift? 5. When we are sad, like Alex, what can we do instead?
Eagle, love, Migizi. Love is represented by the eagle. The eagle was chosen by the Great Spirit to represent this teaching. The love we give the Great Spirit is expressed through the love of oneself. We do this by caring for ourselves in meaningful ways, doing away with negative self-talk, and expressing love to our families and communities. Love oneself makes it possible to express love to others as well. Our spirit needs love to thrive. Without love, we become weak. Our courage fails, and we are not able to view the world with confidence and optimism. But with it, we are creative. We live with endless energy. With love and love alone, we are more able to sacrifice for others. To have love is to know peace. Eagle, Migizi. Alex waited anxiously in the woods for her next visitor. It almost felt like no time had passed at all when the spirit appeared in front of her. It was Eagle. He had the same gleaming appearance as Beaver. His feathers were glossy and his head was as white as fresh snow. Bonjour, Alex said, more confident this time. He bowed his head in greeting. Eagle told her that he was chosen by Gitchi Manidu, or the Great Spirit, to represent the teaching of love. When we value love, we have more energy and creativity. Anishinaabe, who value love, are generous with it, demonstrating it to everyone and everything around them. He asked Alex if she had love in her life. Of course I do, she said. I love my family and my home. And you, Eagle said, do you have love for yourself? Do you know how to show it? Alex wasn't sure what to say. She knew that she hadn't been taking care of her body or spirit. She knew she was getting sicker. She would do anything to protect the well-being of her family members, but when she had stopped giving herself the same care. Alex had been so tired lately that she hadn't been showing love to her family either. She'd stopped cooking for her mom, singing with her dad, and bringing tea to her grandma in the morning. She barely had the energy to talk and laugh with them anymore. Eagle offered her 2 more large squares of fabric. These ones were not as plain as the Beaver's, instead shining with the same polished colors of his feathers. Our love for Gitchi Manidu is best expressed by the love which we give ourselves. Eagle said, treat yourself as cherished loved ones, and you will find yourself with more energy to spend on those who matter to you. How can I do that though? She asked meekly. Her voice was almost a whisper. She heard no response. When she looked up to meet Eagle's piercing gaze, images flashed in her mind. She saw her mom pulling her hair into tight French braids just minutes before grand entry. Her grandma rolling around in a blueberry patch with a full pitcher of berries in her arms. She saw her dad carefully showing her every part of the family fry bread recipe, and she saw strong, beautiful women sitting in a circle at her first full moon ceremony. She felt the lake all around her and the wet sand beneath her feet, the bustling of Red Lake trading post on a busy day, the sun on her skin, and she saw Sam, bright, shining Sam, laughing next to her in the backseat of their parents' old car. His wide smile. I understand, Alex said. Miigwech. Then Eagle was gone. Alex absent-mindedly ran her fingers along the soft fabric in her lap. A small piece of her shame had suddenly lifted and she felt lighter.
Discussion questions. 1. Alex realized that she hasn't been showing herself love. How has that affected her ability to show love to others? 2. Alex is reminded by Eagle of different times she has felt loving in her family. What are some moments from your life where you felt love?
Buffalo, respect, Manaja Idiwin.
Respect is represented by the buffalo. The buffalo has given its life over and over to show the deep respect it has for the people. Its gift provides shelter, clothing, and other tools for daily life. The natural, sustainable relationship between the buffalo and the people is an expression of true respect. We have respect when we honor all creation. We have the opportunity to do this every day. For example, we should offer our tobacco when we pray. When we collect food or medicine, we must strive to avoid waste. Accepting everyone without judgment is how we show respect to the Great Spirit. Expressing kindness and care to other people shows how much we value the gift of life. The essence of respect is generosity and sacrifice. To show respect is to give of yourself. Respect is earned. We must show respect to others in order to be respected.
Buffalo, Mashkode Bijake.
The next spirits came and went rather quickly. A tall, powerful buffalo appeared to her. He told Alex that he represents the grandfather teaching of respect. I have a gift for you, little one, he spoke to her. Alex held out her empty hand, expecting another pair of fabric squares. Instead, she found herself with a bundle of sage in her arms. It was wrapped neatly with red yarn. The dry leaves were rich with calming and earthly smells. Alex breathed it in deeply. Miigwech, she said. I've gifted you this medicine as a reminder to give freely, he said. Anishinaabe are meant to be generous. This is how we show respect. We give our time, energy, and care. We never pass judgment on others. Alex thought about her grandma. She'd be so happy to see a fresh bundle of sage hanging in the kitchen. She felt along the stems where the leaves haven't quite finished drying out. This sage must have come from a recent harvest. You can use the sacred medicines to heal your mind and spirit, and you can eat your traditional foods to nourish your body, Buffalo went on. I ask you to consider the way you show respect. Loving and caring for other people is how we show respect to the Creator. It shows that we value the lives we had been given. When Buffalo had gone, Alex found herself with another pair of fabric squares in her lap. These ones were brown and laced with roughly textured fur, almost as buffalo given directly from his body.
Discussion questions. 1. Buffalo's first gift to Alex was a bundle of sage. Why did he choose this gift for her? What can Alex use this medicine for? 2. Why do you think Buffalo's fabric squares have the same appearance as his body? 3. How did Buffalo show Alex respect?
Bear, courage, Zungade Ewan. Bravery is represented by the bear. The bear offers many teachings. Bravery is the most important teaching the bear offers. Although gentle by nature, the bear will become ferocious if her cubs are approached. A mother bear will even stand up against a much stronger male bear or other serious threats to protect her cubs. The bear represents bravery, courage, through its strength and natural ability to overcome challenges. The bear teaches us the lesson of how to live a balanced life. There is a time to be playful and gentle, and there is a time to be assertive and courageous, in order to have the strength to overcome our fears, which prevent us from living our true spirit. We must meet challenges with the same intensity as the mother bear protecting her cubs. Bravery is facing the most difficult situation with integrity. The bear calls us to awaken our full potential and stand up for what we believe. Bear, Makwa. Bear approached from behind a tree. Behind her were two small cubs, peeking out at Alex timidly. They moved clumsily, much like toddlers just learning to walk. They didn't approach her, opting instead to hide behind their mother. She was a shield to them. "Oh," Alex gasped, "you have little ones." "Please don't get close," she warned Alex. "They are still young." "Of course," Alex agreed sheepishly. She stayed seated firmly on her tree stump, making sure her hands lay unmoving in her lap. Bear offered teachings of bravery. She explained that the Anishinaabe are meant to live a balanced life. There are times for playing, fun, and affection, and there are times where we must be assertive and courageous. Everyone eventually must fight to protect their loved ones and their values. Indigenous people all over the world have shown courage throughout history. They've fought for their rights to practice ceremony, to sing, to dance, and to build good, healthy life for themselves. Bear explained that bravery is practiced in the inner world as well. "Find the part of you that is afraid to heal," Bear said. "Tell that part that it's time to speak up. You've been coping quietly for too long, and it's hurting your body and your spirit." When she left, Bear's cubs shuffled awkwardly behind her. They dawdled away. Alex looked at the fabric squares in her lap. She had 8 now, all the same size and stacked neatly on her knee. The newest squares were at the top. She was shocked to see that they were just plain, warm flannel. The pieces reminded her of her mom's blankets, warm and soft and comforting, even on the worst days.
Discussion questions. 1. Why is Bear protective of her cubs? What can we learn from Bear's fierceness for her family? 2. Bear advises Alex that it's time to speak up and begin her healing. What do you think this will look like? Who can she talk to? 3. How to be a good friend.
Bigfoot is honesty. Wewak, Wadiji win. Honesty is represented by Masabi or Bigfoot. Masabi represents the essence of honesty and reminds us about the importance of being honest with each other. Honesty means being an honorable person, free of fraud or deception. Our relationships with ourselves, others, and the Great Spirit are stronger atop a foundation of honesty. It is an honor to be considered a trustworthy person. It is also important to be honest with yourself. Live true to your spirit. Accept yourself the way you are. The Great Spirit made you who you are, and creating a life in which you can be true to yourself shows your gratitude for your gifts. Alex wasn't expecting to see Masabi next, tall and lumber as he walked, but she wasn't afraid. He approached her with the same gentle demeanor the other spirits had given her. He sat cross-legged in front of her with a soft smile. She couldn't see his eyes through the fur covering his face, but somehow she knew he could still see her. Masabi gave the lesson of honesty. Honesty helps Anishinaabe show that we can trust each other, that our relationships are true and free of manipulation and deception. Honesty works in tandem with the other teachings, allowing us to love and respect one another better without fear of mistreatment or lies. Alex felt a familiar guilt creep into her mind. It had been some time since she was honest and forthcoming with her family. Will they forgive me if I haven't been trusted? It is never too late to begin living by this teaching, Masabi said. If you're on a good path, those who matter to you will see your hard work and forgive. Alex listened quietly. We must be honest with ourselves too, Masabi went on. We accept ourselves as we are, and we are truthful about what we need to thrive. How do I know what I need? Alex asked. Ask for guidance, you'll find it, he assured her. He leaned forward slowly and placed his fabric squares upon the stack. These squares were silky and bright in color. They reminded Alex of the chokecherries that grew in the backyard. Miigwech, Alex thanked him, then Masabi too was gone.
Discussion questions. How has Alex begun neglecting the value of honesty in her life? What could she do to be more truthful with those who love her? 2. Misabe advises Alex to ask for guidance. If you need guidance, who are some people you would ask? Where can you go to get help when you need it? 3. Do you know what guidance means? 4. What did the fabric remind Alex of? Is it okay to lie if you see your peers' parents doing drugs? Why?
Wolf, humility. Debadun Diziwen. Humility is represented by the wolf. In nature, the wolf is the teacher of humility. The wolf was the first companion to Anishinaabe, and although we were directed to take separate paths, we still live in tandem with one another. What happens to the wolf will happen to the Anishinaabe, and what happens to the Anishinaabe will happen to the wolf. The wolf will sometimes bow its head to you when encountered, not out of fear, but out of humility in our presence. The wolf demonstrates humility in its own families and communities. When it hunts for food, it will take it back to the den for others before it eats. It recognizes itself as equal to other parts of creation, neither superior nor inferior to anyone. We learn from the wolf to know ourselves as a sacred part of creation. We show humility through the consideration of others before ourselves. Wolf, Maingan. Wolf came to her next. He bowed his head in greeting. Not sure how to respond, Alex bowed her head as well. Bonjour, she said. Wolf was a teacher of humility. He spoke of a time in Anishinaabe history where man and wolf were best friends, and he reminisced about the day they were sent on separate but parallel paths. When the Anishinaabe are hurting, the wolf is hurting. When the Anishinaabe thrive, the wolf thrives, but our journeys are separate. He emphasized the importance of recognizing a power greater than ourselves. This can mean staying on a good path in accordance to the Great Spirit's gifts. It can also mean knowing that Anishinaabe are not all-powerful. We are not meant to dominate or conquer. People must build healthy relationships with plant and animal life. We allow our sacred teachings to inform the way we treat other living beings. Humility is also expressed through the consideration of others' needs before our own. We cannot act selfishly, nor can we exhaust ourselves by giving too much. Wolf reminded Alex to maintain a balance. We should not feel superior or inferior to anybody else. We are free from both toxic pride and heavy shame, Wolf told her. We accept our place in the world and our role in relation to others. It is natural. Wolf's fabric squares were made up of plain gray cotton. They said their farewells, and Alex waited patiently for her last spirit visitor.
Discussion questions. 1. What does it mean to recognize a power greater than ourselves? How can we apply this to daily life? 2. How can the teachings of humility help us live a balanced life?
Turtle, Debwewin, truth. Truth is represented by the turtle. There are 13 markings on the back of the turtle. These markings represent the 13 moons, which make up one cycle of the Earth's rotation around the sun and brings about each of the 4 seasons. The turtle also has 28 markings that represent the cycle of one moon. An important part of the Anishinaabe creation story. The turtle was present the time the 7 grandfather teachings were given. This was to ensure that the teachings would never be lost or forgotten. The turtle serves as a reminder of the Great Spirit's will and teachings for the Anishinaabe. To know truth is to know and understand all 7 of the original grandfather teachings and remain faithful to them in their entirety. Mikinak, turtle. By the time she had met 6 of the 7 spirits, Alex had a stack of 12 large fabric squares in her lap, each pair representing the spirit who had given it to her. She felt better, no longer nauseous or dizzy. Her legs felt stronger and her head clearer. The sun was high in the sky now, and she knew she should be getting home soon. Turtle was the last spirit to visit her that morning. He spoke softly with a sweet, high-pitched voice, much like an old man. He was much smaller than the rest, but no less powerful. He carried a thick, sturdy shell upon his back with a set of 13 markings. He explained that each marking represents one of the 13 moons, a full cycle of the Earth's rotation around the sun. Turtle was chosen to represent truth. To know truth is to understand and recognize the importance of all of the 7 grandfather teachings and remain loyal to them throughout one's life. Turtle didn't offer Alex any more fabric. Instead, he gave her needles, thread, and everything else she would need to sew the pieces together. Alex offered him the rest of the tobacco she had. Then she was alone again. This time, though, she didn't feel so helpless. She gathered up all of her gifts and walked back home.
Discussion questions. 1. Alex feels her sickness beginning to lift as she accepts these teachings from the spirit visitors. Why do you think she's feeling better? 2. Turtle gave Alex needles and thread instead of fabric squares. What does this represent? 3. How does the teachings of truth bring the other grandfather teachings together? 4. How many markings are on the turtle shell? 5. What do these markings mean? Quilt. By now her parents and grandmother were awake. The house smelled like coffee and breakfast. She set her things down in her room and sat at the dining room table next to her grandma. I'm going to sew today, Alex said between bites of food. It felt good to eat without sickness sitting in her stomach. Would you help me? Anything, my girl, her grandma agreed. They spent the day sewing together in her bedroom. She had a makeshift set up on a fold-out table they pulled out of the garage, along with 2 of the lawn chairs they kept for powwow season. They talked and laughed and told stories. Alec felt a lightness in her chest that had not been there for a long time. The quilt made was not perfect. Alec had never sewn before, so it was a little crooked, and the yarn was fraying at the ends. She was still incredibly proud of herself. Alex slept under the blanket that same night. She went through the teachings in her head, reminded of each one by different squares of fabric on her quilt. She began to follow the teachings she was given. Even when met with challenges, Alex was able to return to the knowledge of the teachings that she was gifted. Discussion questions. 1. Alex is only in the beginning of the important healing journey. What can she do to make sure she stays on a good path? Who can help her? 2. Why is it important for Alex to stay sober?
Ojibwe Word Guide. The original people. Anishinaabe. Hello. Bonjour. Thank you. Miigwech. I'll see you later. Gigawabamin Minowa. Wisdom. Nibwakawin, Beaver, a Mick. Love, Zage Iduin, Ego, Migize. Respect, Manaje Iduin. Buffalo, Mushkode Bijake. Courage, Zungade Iwin. Bear, Makwa. Honesty, Goyakwa Diziwin. Bigfoot, Misabe. Humility, Deba Dane Diziwin. Wolf, Maingan. Truth, Debwewin. Turtle, Mikanak. Tobacco, Asema. Sage, Bashkode Jibik. Cedar, Gijik. Sweetgrass, Wiengushk. Red Lake Nation, Misquagamiwe Zagaigan.